Under a billion of people on this globe are still deprived from access to electricity, and some 3 billion people are adversely impacted by lack of clean cooking fuels such as wood, charcoal, dung, coal, etc. The UN mandate of Goal 7 is to provide accessible, affordable, and clean energy to every person on the globe by 2030. For that, the world has to invest trillions of dollars in clean energy, affordable energy. My name is Aziz Ahmed Hayat. I am practicing energy and sustainability in North American market, and today I'm privileged and delighted to present few slides, PowerPoint presentation on the subject affordable and clean energy to every person on this globe. Pakistan has a big population deprived from this affordable energy even, including Gilgit Baltistan, Baluchistan, KPK, and exterior Sindh and some part of Southern Punjab. Just to refresh our memories about the inexhaustible, environmental friendly, low life cycle impact energy resources and fuels like hydro, solar, wind, geothermal, bio, ocean, oxygen, etc. Non-renewable fuels, which are exhaustible and highly polluting, having a high carbon footprint, which is normally found in the lithosphere of the Earth. The total energy mix of Pakistan is about 34,000 megawatt. Out of this, 35% energy comes from renewable resources, 65% fossil fuel, 48% the resources energy is produced by local resources, and 52% we import the fuels, fossil fuel from outside for producing this energy mix. Two factors determines the affordability of energy. For a common man, it should be low cost. He should be able to buy always, and it is accessible to him. For investor, of course, it is the front cost and also the return on investment. In this graph, a comparison has been given for both fossil fuel based energy production and also the renewable energy sources. For example, gas turbine combined cycle would be the cheapest if we produce energy using the natural gas, but combined cycle, dual cycle. Also, if we look at the renewable sources, the photovoltaic tracking system would be the second, the cheapest source for renewable energy sources. Again, we have the second best source is the gas turbine, natural gas. And if you compare the wind, for example, the wind will cost you about 11 rupees to 30 rupees per unit, and similarly the photovoltaic will cost you 10 to 40 rupees per unit. I have used the energy model Redskin Expert using the NASA weather data for calculating the installed cost and the production cost of the both fossil fuels and the renewable energies. If you look at the installed cost, dollar per kilowatt hour, then diesel engines are the cheapest because it will cost you $350 per kilowatt. When you produce 1 kilowatt of power, you have to spend $350. And similarly, natural gas engines with CHP, they will cost you about $575 to produce 1 kilowatt, I mean 1,000 watts of that. But if we compare the photovoltaic and wind, photovoltaic probably somewhere $6,000 to $7,000 per kilowatt to about 13 sorry about 13,000, 10 to $13,000 per kilowatt hour per kilowatt, and wind turbines probably $1,000 to $3,000. Green energies does not have any carbon footprint, but fossil fuels have a varying carbon and greenhouse gas emission capabilities. For example, you take the diesel engines. The diesel produce 1.7 pound per kilowatt hour per unit, and similarly the combustion turbines and also the diesel fuel engines and the micro turbines, they are the high emitting fossil fuels, high emitting energy sources. Comparatively, if you see the natural gas, they are a bit lower than the CO2 emitted by the carbon by the diesel engines and other turbines. Two common renewable energy resources like photovoltaic and wind harvesting are under discussion in Pakistan, and people are working on those projects. As we know, the photovoltaic harvesting depends on the radiation of sun and the covered area where we install the photovoltaic cells, photovoltaic panels. It is measured in kilowatt hour per meter square per day, and similarly the wind depends on the wind harvesting depends on the speed of the wind. For example, it is measured in meter per second. Using the NASA weather network, I have used energy model screen expert to determine the potential of solar harvesting and the wind harvesting. For example, the Karachi, the annual solar radiation in kilowatt hour per meter square per day is 5.34. This means that if you have a 1 square meter of area and you install a photovoltaic panel, you can produce 5.35 units out of that. And similarly, the average wind speed in Karachi, for example, is 3.5. The photovoltaic harvesting in kilowatt hour per meter square per day for Lahore is 4.68, for Islamabad is 5.33, Peshawar is 5.16, Hunza GB is 4.45, and Quetta is 5.54. Similarly, if we see the available wind in different cities of Pakistan, basically I compare Karachi, Lahore, Islamabad, Peshawar, Quetta, and Hunza. So Karachi is leading by average 5 and above 5 sometimes, and followed by Quetta, and then followed by Peshawar, and then Islamabad, and then last is the Hunza. So there is very little potential for wind harvesting in Hunza because of the low average wind speed. Let me ask you a question. What is the immediate and short-term energy needs of Pakistan? Is that clean energy, or is that affordable energy? So my answer would be, it should be affordable, accessible, sustainable energy source for a common man. Pakistan is amongst the 5th most impacted countries on the globe due to global warming. If we compare the share of the Pakistan in total global carbon emission, it is less than 1%. And if you see that comparison between China, USA, India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, after the Bangladesh, this is the second lowest for the carbon footprint, and also per capita, after Bangladesh, it is the second lowest per capita carbon footprint of Pakistan. Now, unfortunately, the energy use per capita of Pakistan is very low, and as compared to the other countries, but that is because of the non-availability of our energy to common man, and also the GDP per capita is one of the lowest amongst those 5 countries, which I put here for comparison. This slide is very important and carries a very significance because this compares the efficiencies of those 5 countries which is under comparison. If we see the kilowatt hour of national product producing $1, we spend 2.8 kilowatt hours, whereas India spends 2.31 kilowatt hour per dollar, and Bangladesh is 0.17, and similarly China 0.37 and USA 0.18. This means that the Bangladesh economy is compatible with the US. For that reason, Pakistan cannot meet Bangladesh because its efficiencies, the efficiency of its economy is very inefficient, needs a lot of work to be done. Now, I have taken that data source, word data info, taking that word data info source for making this comparison. We are 53% lower than, our economy is 53% lower than India, whereas we are 278% lower than Bangladesh, we are 247% lower than China, and 266% lower than USA. The international trend, rather the developed countries trend for using the total energy on different sectors is 52% on industrial, 12% on transportation, 13% for residential use, and 23% for commercial. So if you making the same formula, I have calculated the energy consumed by different sectors in Pakistan. If we want to be as competitive as our rival India, we have to increase our industrial efficiencies, commercial efficiencies, and economies efficiency by at least 40 to 50%. Now, I have just set a target of 40% for industrial, 30% for transportation, and 30% for residential, and 45% for commercial. So if we bring our economies efficiencies, increase our efficiencies of our economies by an average 40%, then probably we will be able to spare about 14,000 megawatt of energy to the poor people, common people in Pakistan, which is equivalent to constructing a dam like Mangla for producing that kind of energy. Unfortunately, because of the YouTube time constraints, I am unable to complete my presentation. So I have to make 2 more presentations on this topic, which is very crucial and very important topic to all of us, especially for every Pakistani common man. So my next presentation, I will discuss how we can improve the efficiencies of our different sectors of our economy, especially the commercial and the industrial sectors. And maybe the third one, we will discuss about the feasibility studies on the photovoltaic and wind turbines. Till then, stay tuned and take care of yourself and your families. Allah Hafiz.